El exec, el exec, el exec. El Vélez, el Vélez, el Vélez. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 95 of the Exec Talk podcast. I am your host, Velez. How are you doing? We have some things to get to today. NASCAR included, NCAA women's and men's, baseball started. We have NBA ending the regular season soon-ish. And we have a couple of things to get here and there. But I want to welcome you guys. Welcome to episode 95. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow us on all our socials. Sorry, it's 10:14, so I'm recording this kind of late. But I hope you guys had a great Easter Sunday, a great Easter weekend. And let's get to it. First of all, I want to say R.I.P. to Vontae Davis, the one Dolphins' best corner for a time since when we drafted him. Then he went to the Colts, and then he famously went to the Bills and retired at halftime. Lost him today at the age of 35, 36. I believe it was the age of 36. I cannot fathom what his family's going through. Pat McAfee and Darius J. Butler on the Pat McAfee show shared their condolences. That were teammates of him in Indianapolis. He was a good guy, but it teaches us you just never know. You never know, when you should reach out. That's why you should always reach out to your friends and family. Make sure they know that they're loved, and that they can find support with you. And you never know what somebody's dealing with, so always check in to your loved ones. So RIP and condolences to the family and to all his ex-teammates. He was a really good corner for us at Miami. He was actually our number one corner for a number of years, and he was pretty good at the Colts, and he finished his career pretty good with the Bills, so he will be missed. Next, NASCAR. Remember when I said Denny Hamlin was was the king of Richmond? He had 4 wins. Well, guess what? He got his 5th. And it wasn't a dominant performance. It was kind of looking like this for a long time. Like we're like first 2 stages, he's nowhere to be found. And then the 3rd stage, he starts creeping up. And then in old Denny Hamlin fashion, Larson was first. He was going on a strategy of pitting only once a stage, but that got thrown out the window when a caution flew 15 laps after he had just hit the pit stop. So that evened up everybody on tires. It put Truex up in the front, and Truex led the most laps, and was leading. Him and Carl Larson were leading most of the race. But, Denny kept creeping up and having good stops and everything. And then with 1 lap left, it was Truex, Logano, and Hamlin. 1, 2, and 3. Logano wasn't that far off. I mean, maybe like half a second, 0.6 of a second behind Truex. With like 15 to 10 to 7 laps to go. And then with 1 lap to go, Bubba Wallace, owned by Denny Hamlin, spun Kyle Larson. And then they went into the pits. Overtime. Denny got out first, so he got the lead. And then it went into overtime, and even though Truex felt like Denny jumped the start, NASCAR didn't say anything about it, and Denny goes on to win at Richmond for the 5th time. This season has been very, very dominated by Chevy and Toyota, and more specifically, the usual suspects of Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing. If it's not a Joe Gibbs car winning, it's a Hendrick car, and the only exception is Daniel Suarez with Trackhouse, and that's Chevy. The Fords are just having some trouble keeping up. At one point, there was no Fords in the top 12 at Richmond. They started in wets, which was interesting. They had no wiper blades, but they started in wets. The second time I see wet tires, but at an actual track. North Wilkesboro is a track, but more like it's more like a sentimental track. Like Richmond is part of the schedule, and it was interesting. It wasn't as wet as I thought it would be. So, the strategy of NASCAR not having competitive pit stops because the pit road was wet, even though the track was drying. I understand that, but at the same time, I think you should put wipers on them, and even if it rains, I think that they should try to race. It'll make it a lot more exciting, and a lot of NASCAR fans would be like, yay, we're getting rain racing, because everybody else does it. Indy does it. IMSA Sports does it. Formula One does it. Any type of racing is in the rain. There's only a couple of racing disciplines that don't race in the rain. Drag racing is included in one of those, but the speed is what, and grip is what you need, and wet track does not let you do that. So, but shout out to Denny Hamlin. They go to Martinsville next. The Paperclip, again, another safe haven for dirt racers. So I expect Kyle Larson to be up there, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch. He should get a bounce back performance at this track. He should have a shot at pole or even winning it. But this is an old school track for the old school guys, so I'm expecting the old school guys to be at the front, whether that's Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Joey Logano. I expect those guys to be up there. Another thing is that, Ty Gibbs is coming. He's going to get his first win soon. He's just too good. He's been racing well everywhere. He's top, out of the non-winners, he's like top 3 in points of non-winners. He barely wrecks. He's aggressive, but still mindful of the car. So he's a good racer, and, he's only 20 years old, so future's bright for him, and I think his first win is coming very, very soon. All right. Let's get to some NFL news. Hassan Reddick to the Jets. I'm gonna tell you guys the specifics. But what this does is essentially like fill the hole that Bryce Huff left, and it's funny because when you look at it, they kind of just traded Huff for Reddick. Huff went to the Eagles, younger legs, smaller contract. And then the Jets are trying to win now, so they add Hassan Reddick. He's been 3rd in sacks over, he's been sixth or 5th in sacks over the last 5 years, I believe. Let's see, I have it right here. Over the past 5 seasons, Hassan is tied for 5th most in sacks. So, just add to that Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Quinnen Williams. I think it's a good addition, along with Javon Kinlaw that they brought in too. overall, the Jets are all in or bust this season. Looking like a guy like Tyron Smith, he has to stay healthy. Morgan Moses, he has to stay healthy. You know, what they do in the draft will be very interesting. They can go defense. They can go offense. They can go really offense and wide receiver position. Potentially, if Brock Bowers is there, you can draft him. Or you can go O-line, which is very, very good there too, and just keep adding to that O-line because, you know, you have a lot of old people in that O-line right now. But I think it's a good move for Hassan Reddick. It's a good way to kind of lessen the Bryce Huff loss. Raheem, we signed him to a 2-year, $9.057 million deal. Pretty good. He deserved it. Thank God he stays with us. Other than that, Foye Oluokun, he signs a 4-year, $45 million deal with $22.5 million guaranteed. I mean, he's borderline one of the best tacklers in the league. He is a tackling machine, and excuse me. He's a good middle linebacker, and I think it's a good deal for both sides. You know, 3 years, 22.5, you know, guaranteed, 45 max. I think that overall is a good deal for him and the team, and it keeps them together, keeps their linebacking core together, and you know, he's the centerpiece of that. Other than that, Brock Wright, 1-year deal. Josh Reynolds signing with the Denver Broncos. We went over that. Davius White. Okay, so after that, we have some not so good news. The police are searching for Raheem Wright, for Rashee Rice. He was involved in a 6-car accident. One of the cars, whether it was the Lamborghini or the Corvette, is registered under his name. Supposedly they have, not supposedly, but allegedly, in the video from a dash cam of a car that was behind the wreck, there's 3 men that are seen fleeing the scene. So we don't know yet what's going on over there. So we shall see. This was in Dallas, by the way, at like 6 p.m. So like not a crazy time, or, you know, where intoxication and all that. So very, very, very concerning. We'll see what happens. He just won the Super Bowl as a rookie. Sometimes that goes to your head. You don't make good decisions. Allegedly in the video, you see one of the 3 men with weapons and bags. So I don't want to speculate. We'll see how the investigation goes and what gets uncovered, but it doesn't look good for Rashee Rice. The 49ers signed Brock Wright, the tight end that used to be with the Lions. Signed him to a 3-year, $12 million offer sheet that includes $6 million guaranteed. And Brock Wright was tendered by 1 year by the Lions, $2.985 million. And now they have 5 days to decide whether to match San Francisco's offer sheet or lose the tight end without getting back any compensation. So we shall see about that. Vontae died at 35. R.I.P. Another big developing story is that the Saints, Ryan Ramczyk, their offensive tackle and Pro Bowler, and I believe All Pro, might legitimately not be able to play this year, which is incredibly disappointing. His knee, it looks like it's not healing properly. He might be at the end of his rope, to be honest. But if he's not medically able to play this season, this puts a wrench into whatever the Saints were gonna do in the draft, because now they have to go. They have to possibly take a tackle. Instead of maybe a defensive stopper like a Jerzon Newton, or somebody like Tavondre Sweat, something like that, which they needed, but now they have to look tackle. So that's going to be very interesting. As for NCAA, we'll start with the men's. The men's are in the Final Four. So let's start with UConn destroying Illinois with a 30-0 run to start the second half. It was a pretty close game till halftime, and then UConn just went on a 30-0 run. And just Castle was hitting, Klingon went nuts, and they just went off. And UConn looks like the strongest team. It's not particularly close when you look at them play. Hurley has them boys buzzing, and they're my pick to win the championship. On the other side, we had NC State upsets number 4 Duke as an 11 seed to move to the Final Four. DJ Burns Jr., I mean, this guy, man. I don't know if he's going to play in the NBA. The NFL supposedly looking at him as a D tackle, but man, to have that type of footwork at that type of size and girth, pause, that was crazy. But just he's big. He has quick feet. He has nice touch. It's crazy how he basically dominated that game. Just like Zach Edey did for Purdue. They beat Tennessee and Dalton Connect, which they both went crazy. Zach Edey, will he play in the NBA? Some people say yes. Some people say he might be like a Zubox. I mean, you could see him being a Zubox, but he's 7'4". He does have touch around the rim, but the defensive side, especially when it comes to like if they want to take him 5 out and take him out to the perimeter, it is barbecue chicken like Gobert out there for him. He's gonna have a lot of laughing on his tape in the NBA as a defender. But Purdue overcoming the 2 losses these past 2 years to 15 and 16 seeds. Getting all the way to the Final Four. We'll see what happens. It's NC State, Alabama, because they beat Clemson, the 4 seed. Alabama, the 4 seed. You have UConn, the 1 seed, and then you have Purdue, UConn, NC State, Alabama. That's your Final Four. Alabama's a 4 seed, NC State an 11 seed, and then 2 1 seeds with UConn and Purdue. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be UConn-Purdue in the final, and I'm going to go with UConn there, but it'll be very, very interesting these next upcoming games. As for the women's, Iowa's still alive, South Carolina's still alive, USC is still alive, and UConn is still alive. So all the big boys are still the big programs are still alive. South Carolina's supposed to win it this year, just like last year, and they've been rolling. UConn with Paige Beckers coming back one more year, just like Caitlin Clark did, and Angel Reese for LSU. They're all rolling, so we'll see how it goes. Actually, I can give you the score for LSU Iowa because it just happened. And Clayton Clark went absolutely nuts, and it was a sight to behold. I haven't seen the highlights yet. I will after the pod, but I can definitely tell you the box score and everything like that. Iowa won 94-87. So they won by 7. And Angel Reese had 17, 20, 17 and 20 with 4 assists. 7 of 21 though. That's tough in 36 minutes. And then for the Hawkeyes, you had, Caitlin went for 41. She went 9 for 20 from 3, which is pretty good, 40-something percent. And then she went 13 for 29 total. 41, 7, and 12. Yeah, that'll get it done. That means LSU gets knocked out. The national champs are not repeating. Iowa goes to the Final Four to likely face the winner of UConn USC. And right now it is 33-33 at halftime. UConn against USC. USC the 1 seed, UConn the 3 seed. Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins. Great matchup there. And then after that, NC State versus South Carolina. Wow, that's interesting. NC State is made it both in the men's and the women's to the Final Four. That's really, really interesting. NC State's a three seed here though, against number 1 South Carolina. I think I'm gonna go with South Carolina in that one. And then Iowa faces the winner of UConn USC, which is gonna be either a 1-1 matchup or a 1-3 matchup, just like NC State South Carolina. But it's looking like it's shaping up to be a great two Final Fours. I absolutely love it. It's incredible to watch Caitlin Clark do her thing. Paige Beckers is really good. Juju Watkins is taking over. And then South Carolina is just a machine. And then on the men's side, I love Castle for UConn. Klingon, of course. Carahan, their shooter, he's really good. Josh Newton is good, the point guard. But at the same time, on the other side, you got Zach Edey looking good. NC State, you got DJ Burns and Horn looking good. And then for Alabama, you have Sears. I mean, just a sharpshooter. And I believe Estrada, if I'm not mistaken, is the one for Alabama. If not, it's Jones, the other scorer. But they're doing great, doing absolutely incredible. As for the NBA, all right, let's get to cooking on the NBA. So we're going to look at the standings and we're going to look at some games. Yesterday, LeBron dropped 9 threes. He went 9 for 12 or 9 for 13 from 3. Dropped 40 against, I mean, it wasn't a great team, but against the Nets, but it helps them stay in 9. Anthony Davis had 24 and 14. Rui Hachimura had 20 and 10. LeBron had 40. He went 9 for 10 from 3, so 90%. 13 for 17, really 47 and 5, really efficient. D'Angelo Russell went for 18, 4 for 11 from 3, 6 for 13. Reeves went for 12, and then nobody on the bench scored except Gabe Vincent, which, shout out Gabe Vincent. He came back finally off a injury. So that's good for the Lakers. That adds a little bit more depth and not bench because he's going to be the starting point guard, but I guess a little bit more organization in the point guard position. The Nets, Cam Thomas with the 30-piece, 4 of 7 from 3, 8 of 22. Other than that, this team is awful. I don't know what they have to do, but they got to do something. Mikal Bridges scoring 13 points. I mean, this is supposed to be your star? I don't think so. I do not think so. The Nuggets beat the Cavaliers after the Nuggets took a loss to Minnesota with no cat. Just Anthony Davis blew him off the floor by 20. And then, so that was for the 1 seed. And then the next day, the Timberwolves lose at home to the Bulls. They just kept hitting threes, and the Timberwolves just couldn't catch up. And then the Timberwolves lose. The Thunder win against the Knicks by 1 on a beautiful Shea Gilgeous-Alexander with 1.2 seconds remaining fadeaway. I believe against Brunson. And then so it switches up again, and they go and Timberwolves go from 1, as they left Saturday night, they left at 1. And then or Friday night, they left at 1, and now they're third. A game back again because the Thunder and the Nuggets both won and they lost. So it's still going down to the wire. Absolutely going down to the wire. The 76ers have some good news coming. As soon as tomorrow, Joel Embiid could come back and from the meniscus tear. Listen, based on how many games are left, he has to ramp up quick, but can he get to this level again? The level of like 35 a game where he was going to win the MVP running away and everything. If he gets to that level, nobody wants to see him in the playoffs. Nobody wants to see 76 in the play, like, at all. Okay? At all. Okay? They do not want to see him. They're in the play-in right now. They're at 8th seed. They fell so much because Joel Embiid got hurt. But if they get Embiid back with how Kelly Oubre has been playing, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, everybody playing together, it's going to be a very, very dangerous proposition for sure. Also, the Heat won against the Wizards. That's nothing to say. Mavericks keep winning 125-107 against the Rockets. Finally stopped their 11-game winning streak, and the Mavericks extend theirs to, I believe, 6 or 7 that the Mavs have won in a row. Yeah, they've won 7 in a row, 9-1 in their last 10. I mean, Luka's playing out of his mind. Kyrie's being efficient as ever. Daniel Gafford is playing great. So is Derek Lively when it comes to interior defense and the lob threat. PJ Washington's playing great. Everybody's shooting well. Very, very dangerous team. Definitely a dark horse with New Orleans. They actually jumped New Orleans in the standings. Dallas is now 5. New Orleans is 6. It's only half a game, but it means something. Other than that, you have Phoenix 1 game behind the 6th seed at 8.5 games back. Sacramento has been sputtering a little bit, but they're 6-4 in their last 10, trying to turn it around before. So they're half a game back of the 7th seed at 9 games back. The Lakers are a game and a half behind the 8th seed at 10.5 games back, and Golden State's 12 games back, game and a half back of the Lakers at 9. Houston is 2 games back now of that 10th seed because Golden State has won their last. Golden State has 6. They've won 4 in a row since that slide, and Houston was 9-1 in their last 10. Lost yesterday to Dallas. Cam Whitmore came back, so that's nice. But now Utah, Memphis, Portland, San Antonio, they're all eliminated, just like Toronto, Charlotte, Washington, and Detroit. I don't know why they have Brooklyn here with some type of chance. I mean, they are 6.5 games back. I don't know how they would make that up. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They're not doing nothing. Now, the Chicago, with the win over the Minnesota, clinched the play-in berth, so they will be in the play-in. Atlanta hasn't clinched yet, even though they're only a half game back of the ninth seed with Chicago. So Atlanta could possibly move into the ninth. They're still gonna face Chicago, but it would be at home. It would be in Atlanta instead of in Chicago. Overall, Orlando's been playing really well, 7-3 in their last 10. Indiana 6-4 in their last 10. 1-2 in a row. So are they getting stuff back in the right direction? Possibly. New York is 7-3 in their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row. They have to shape up, because if not, they have Orlando at their heels at half a game back with 15 games back, and they're at 14.5. And then Indiana is just a game and a half back of Orlando. Miami is a game back of Indiana for that 6th seed. It'd be so nice to get that 6th seed and go against Cleveland that first round, because right now we're staring at Milwaukee if we win that first playing game. And if we don't win that first playing game and win the second one, we're facing Boston. Not that they're worried. I'm guessing Miami ain't worried about who they play first round, but I would not like to face Boston, when they're fresh, coming off a week of a bye and stuff like that. Just not ideal. Milwaukee is 6-4 in their last 10, so they're trying to straighten things out before the playoffs. And then Boston's 8-2 in the last 10. They keep rolling. Cleveland's 4-6 in the last 10, so they're kind of slumping a little bit. We'll see what happens there. The Knicks are only a half game back of the Cleveland. Cleveland's at 14 games back. New York is at 14.5. And then OKC's number 1 right now. They clinched. Denver clinched, and Minnesota also clinched all playoff berths. They're separated by a game. Denver by half a game in second. Minnesota by 1 game. They're all 7-3 in the last 10. They're all playing really good ball. It's going to come down to the last, it's literally going to come down to the last day of the season what the order is going to be. The Clippers are 5 games back, 4 games back of 3. I don't think but they've won 3 in a row, 6-4 in the last 10. So they're starting to turn it around. We talked about Dallas, the 7 in a row. They have a chance to go catch the Clippers. They're 2 games back, but they have a chance. New Orleans, they have a chance too. Although it's going to take a little bit more work since they're 2.5 games back of Cleveland of the Clippers. Phoenix is 8.5, just a game back of the 6th seed. Book has been playing well. So has KD. So it's going to be very interesting when we get to the end. This thing is not over yet. It's not done shuffling. I think from 1 to 3, there's gonna be some shuffling there, and then from 5 to all the way 5 to 8, I think there'll still be shuffling there. So I think that overall, we're not even close to seeing how this is gonna look. Some key games coming up. Some key games coming up. As for today. Celtics beat the Hornets. That's nothing. Pacers beat the Nets, so they win. Magic win, so that doesn't move the Pacers up. Suns win, but Pelicans lose. That's interesting because they're direct 6-7. The Grizzlies beat the Pistons. That doesn't matter, and the Hawks beat the Bulls. That does matter for the 8-9. Who wants home court. Tomorrow, we have the Lakers and the Raptors. The Lakers obviously have to win that. Bucks Wizards, we don't care about that. Bucks should win. Thunder 76ers is interesting. Knicks Heat has some weight to it. Rockets Timberwolves has some weight to it. They have to win. Nuggets Spurs, they're going to destroy the Nuggets. Cavaliers Jazz. Mavericks Warriors is big. And then Clippers Kings is really big because they're that affects the West a lot. So that's the NBA. Really exciting. Getting into the last little bit of the season before we get into what we love to see, which is playoff basketball at its finest with some young guns versus the old guard and, everything in between. I can't wait. Now to finish off with baseball, the Yankees went on an absolute tear against the Astros opening weekend. 4-0. Juan Soto changes the dynamics of that lineup. Having Juan Soto, then putting Aaron Judge. Oswaldo Cabrera's hitting well. Gleyber Torres, it looks better. Anthony Volpe looks better as a hitter. Rodon did his thing. Nestor had a good outing. Stroman had a good outing. So without Garrett Cole, they're still definitely potent. I don't know if that's how the whole season's going to go, but for right now, the Juan Soto trade is looking like an absolute win. The Dodgers kind of dominated at the beginning, but then sputtered at the end against the Cardinals. Other than that, we have, I'm looking here for the actual. Let's see here. Here we go. The Brewers beat the Nets. They won the series. The Braves beat the Phillies on Friday. Then the Phillies beat them. It was kind of like a back and forth series. The Marlins got swept by the Pirates. The Pirates look really good. O'Neal Cruz looks like a beast. Brian Reynolds looked good. Brian Hayes looks like he's hitting the ball better. The Orioles destroyed the Angels, annihilated them. The Athletics beat the Guardians beat the A's. Twins and Royals went back and forth. Nationals Reds went back and forth. Blue Jays Rays went back and forth. Cubs Rangers was a good series. Bombi had a good one. Like we said, Yankees Astros was basically a no contest. Giants Padres was a good series. The Diamondbacks destroyed the Rockies until the last game. The Cardinals beat the Dodgers on Saturday. Mariners had a good series against the Red Sox. They got to figure out that hitting, but the pitching is insane. So, yeah, it was a very good. Tigers won against the White Sox, but I expected that. I like what I'm seeing from the dominant pitchers. Yoshinobu Yamamoto had a good outing. Shota Imanaga had a good outing today for the Cubs. Grayson Rodriguez, one of the favorites, one of the dark horses for Cy Young, did great for the Orioles. Jordan Hicks for the San Francisco Giants, the closer turned starter, had really good stuff. Still had his, triple-digit heaters, but, his splitter, he took off a little bit from it. And the sinker, he took off a little bit from it, so he lost long innings, and he pitched really well. Bobby Miller pitched really well. For the Dodgers, it was Zach Gallen, Merrill, pitched well for the Diamondbacks. Pitchers that was supposed to pitch good pitched good. I was really impressed. Tyler Glasnow pitched well for the Dodgers. So, overall, it was a very interesting weekend. Mookie stayed really hot. He had a leadoff home run the second game. He had two home runs the first game. Shohei's a little bit on a little slump first series. I'm not worried about that. Mike Trout got his first home run, and then the Angels didn't score at all after that. The Cardinals look semi-potent this year. Cole Reagan's pitched really well for them. Other than that, Corbin Burns did absolutely amazing in his first start for the Orioles. Overall, it was really, really nice to see baseball again. I love how the game is being played right now. Sick pitching, sick hitting, great defense. Without the shift, more balls in play. I just love what's going on right now. Now some calls on balls and strikes, Jesus Christ, we're talking about middle of the plate calling a ball. Some of these umpires got to get some glasses, some contacts, some LASIK, because my God, what are you doing? Looking at what? And some calls outside, they give them a strikes, but that's baseball, Overall, I'm really excited about the Cubs. Morel's hitting the ball beautifully hard. Wyatt Langford killed it in his first series for the Rangers. Overall, I think it's going to be a very good season. A lot of surprises. Marlins still suck, especially when it comes to pitching. That we just have Luzardo and Garrett, essentially, and Yuri. Everybody else is garbage, including the bullpen. I can't wait for Paul Skeens to come for the Pirates. Hunter Green pitch okay for the Reds. We haven't seen Nick Lodolo yet, so we'll see if we see him this season anytime soon. But other than that, it's been an absolutely great start to the MLB season. F1 is in Japan this week, I believe. It's going to be very fun. We'll talk about that on Thursday. But sports are in a good place right now, where it's college basketball and women's college basketball. UFL is going on. 64-yarder back-to-back. That was great by a guy that hadn't kicked since high school. That was an amazing story. The fake punt, touchdown to the center, for the Brahmas. That shit was dope. So they're trying to get it up in the air. Not a lot of high scoring. 18, 17, 16, 18. So we'll see if it gets better as the season goes on. But I think that there's going to be opportunities for people from that league to possibly jump to the next level, kickers and stuff like that especially. And the draft is getting a little murky. People don't know who's going to move up to what spot, who's going to draft who. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I think it goes literally Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr. Once you get to the Chargers, that's when it could change. It could go Malik Neighbors. You could go Joe Walt. You could go Olo Fashanu. They could trade out. If I'm looking for a candidate to trade out, it would be the Chargers. But then again, with no number one receiver and having Malik Neighbors right there, do you just take him or do you move back to 11, give J.J. McCarthy to the Minnesota Vikings and take Brian Thomas Jr. at 11? Where's Xavier Legette going to go? Just an absolute freak, basically DK-esque. Brock Bowers is still up and down. Who's going to take him? If I was the Chargers, if I didn't lose my number one receiver, I would have taken him at 5. But, you're looking at potentially maybe the Jets if they want to add a weapon, even though Brian Thomas Jr. will be there. But, those teams, will the Rams go Bo Nix? Will the Raiders go quarterback? Where's Michael Penix going to go? People are saying maybe Miami. I agree. Stronger arm than Tua, still left-handed. Can throw the deep ball with anybody. I think that's what we need with the type of speed we have, but we'll see. We still need D-tackle. So a lot of things to be figured out in the NFL draft. As we get closer to it, I will start filling out my mock draft and my best available, so you guys can discourse and we can debate about it. But other than that, thank you for watching episode 95 of the Exec Talk podcast. I am your host, Elva Les. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and thank you for all the support Thank you for sharing the podcast. Thank you for viewing the TikToks. It really means a lot. We're just, trying to grow out here in this space. I really love doing this for you guys, and I really love doing this, period. I love sports. I love talking about them. I love giving takes. And I appreciate you guys for allowing me to do that. I love you guys, and have a wonderful one. Here's the outro.
Que todos quieren ser el chamaquito que no puede